Hey, and welcome to In the Treehouse. I'm Mike Connor. I'm your host, business coach here in Georgia. You'll see we are not in the treehouse today. If you have watched the weather the last 24 hours or so, you will realize that Georgia it has been experiencing some extreme weather, and our guests today are kind of icebound down in
Yeah.
Conyers and weren't able to get out because of all of the ice and snow and things like that that's south of Atlanta that hasn't impacted us up here north of Atlanta. Um, but I am super excited about our guests today. These are two folks who have meant a lot to me. I consider some of my very best friends in the world. And we have known each other for, gosh, I think over 3 years now. It's
Correct.
been yeah, and working together, and so we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But it is a pleasure for me to introduce Enrique and Joslyn Dent, who own
Yes.
Dent
How
Tires. Yeah. So, hey guys.
you doing?
Uh,
How you
How
doing,
you
man?
doing?
oh, we're doing well. I'm so glad. I'm sorry that you're not able to be up here. Although we probably still would be inside today because it's so
Yeah.
bitterly cold. It was 10 degrees this morning
Oh,
here at our house, so it's just very cold. And I want to express first a very happy birthday to Jocelyn, whose birthday was this week.
thank you.
And there is a birthday cake that's waiting for you here at the house that my daughter made for you. A special cake that you like that she made special for you. So we'll get together soon when we can get on the road and you can have some cake.
We, we,
So,
Awesome.
we
Thank
can't wait to
you.
get it.
yeah. All right. So the theme of In the Treehouse is the idea that all of us had some place when we were young that
Okay.
we escaped, to that we just went into in our child mind and lived out our fantasies and our dreams and our hopes as a 4, 5, 6, 7, however old we were. And so I want to ask each of you, what was your treehouse when you were growing up? Where did you go to play and to dream?
Mrs. Dent,
Let
you want
me
to go
go
first?
first.
Okay, go
Well,
ahead.
for me, this was in my closet. When I was a little girl, I had a walk in closet and I decorated it with my plush dolls and bears and my music. And I would sit there with my snacks for hours, just tucked away and just dreaming. My thoughts would just run wild and free.
Yeah. And what were some of those dreams?
Well, as a young girl, it was to become a veterinarian because I loved animals and I still
Yeah.
do love animals,
Yeah.
specifically cats. I love cats.
Awesome. Awesome. All
Yeah.
right. And Enrique, where were you?
Well, the world was my closet. Keep in mind, I'm a country boy from Macon, Georgia. So I played outside a lot. So I was
Yeah.
always riding the four wheelers. I was always fishing, playing in the creek with crawdads, playing cup ball, playing kickball. So I dreamed of always been I was always, picking the plums and the berries. And cause like I said, I'm from, the country. So I would dream of being a farmer
Yeah.
that ate, and I, grow my crops and watermelons and peaches and because they drove the cool tractors and they had all the wonderful toys that any kid would look at and say, "Wow, they get to have." This was like it's very fun to grow up to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I mean, I started off eventually, in the beginning, wanted to be a farmer, but then of course, it morphed into a policeman, then a fireman, because I was always intrigued by the toys. So I would daydream all the time about having some type of prestige, some type
Yeah.
of uniform, some type of authority,
Yeah.
and these different careers I thought presented that opportunity.
Yeah.
So
Very cool. Very cool. Now, you said you grew up in Macon, Georgia.
yes.
Jocelyn, where you
I
grew
grew
up
up
in Chicago? Go
I grew
ahead.
up in Chicago, south side of Chicago.
Oh,
So
that's a
I'm
rough area these days.
Yep.
But
Country
so
boy,
and a
what's
city
that?
girl.
What's that?
country boy, city girl,
And a city girl.
Yeah, yeah. A little bit country, a little bit,
city.
rock and roll.
Well, more like house music.
Yeah.
I love house music and
Yeah.
jazz.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of music, you've mentioned music. You took some of those dreams, Enrique, and you made a little bit of a dream life for a while in as you evolved into where you are now. Tell us a little bit about that dream that you had.
On my journey, upon moving to Atlanta, I was introduced to the music scene of Atlanta. And when I first got to Atlanta from Macon, Georgia, I think I was about 13. But I was immersed in a culture that I had never seen before. And I started hearing all these strange sounds and records on the radio. And there was a whole hip hop culture that I was just oblivious to when I was in Macon. But when I got here, it became a little more in reach. So as I grew into the scene of Atlanta and the culture, I immersed myself into hip hop, as I stated. I started off as a DJ, then went from being a DJ to a songwriter, from a songwriter to a producer. Initially, I didn't want the spotlight, so I wrote songs for other people. But what I realized, they were not doing the songs like I thought they should be done. So I started doing talent shows and I started collaborating with others.
Yeah.
That decision to take my career in my own hands, I guess I decided to create my own record label and production company, and I did that. And doing that, I was able to release 7 albums. I was able to produce most of those records, write those records, perform those records, travel, do some of the biggest shows in coliseums and 11,000 people screaming fans. And I didn't know it could be a reality to be on the radio, to be on Billboard charts, to do Mellow Yellow commercials. And I just didn't think it would be, because I've never had a record deal. I've only had distribution deals. So with that, and even when I met Mrs. Dent and I told her about my past, she did not believe.
I didn't believe him. I said, everybody says that they're a rapper in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And so when I would tell her these stories about my life and the things I've done, because I used to watch shows like the Crush Grooves and all that. And when I got a chance to perform with Run DMC and LL Cool J and some of the Eric B. and Rocket and some of the greats that I idolize at the moment in hip hop, I just could not believe this was a dream come true.
Yeah.
It really set the foundation, the stage for my business mind to start seeing the world in a bigger space than what I knew. So,
tell me a little bit about that, a little bit more about that, expanding your mind and how this did, because that's where, we have known each other, and I've worked with you and been the privilege of being your business coach for that time. And we talk a lot about dreams. And I firmly believe that God gives us dreams of the abundant life that we could have. And so when you talk about this progression of dreams, being in the music industry, but how it expanded that dream, tell us.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't think that it took a special characteristic to become a CEO or a business owner. I didn't even know that was a difference in what a business owner, a CEO was, a hustler, because I just thought that if you hustle hard, you could make things happen. I didn't know that there was structure to business. Yeah. I didn't know there was the person that's in the leadership role, there's different forms of leadership. I just thought if you're the boss, you're the boss. That's just one title. You're the owner or you're the boss, and he has his role. I didn't know difference between a founder and an owner and the CEO and the CFO. So I started learning more about business, let alone things like business credit, because I was going in negotiating my own distribution deals during the musical era. And I took on all the responsibility, but you can remember, I'm the rapper, the producer, the artist, and now I'm the litigator, I'm negotiating. And I didn't know that I had another role to play as the owner of the company.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. I'm the creative. So, during our training, it wasn't 2 years later, because I kept saying I was successful, but why didn't I meet the pinnacle of my success? Well, I didn't have the foundation. I didn't have the understanding. I didn't understand things like business credit, and I had no understanding of risk. I had no understanding of liabilities. I just wanted to make good music and make money out of it. It changed my life. It changed my family life. So now looking back, I see the mistakes now. So now when I hear other people that are doing certain businesses, I go, oh, I see what's wrong. I see what's not in place, or what's the lack of knowledge and understanding. Or you should find someone else to do that for you, because that's not just your expertise. That's not your field.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're proficient in this area, but not that.
Yeah. And that's just awesome. And I've seen how you've done that over the years. And what I even hear is, even through the music industry and all the success that you had there, you were the tactician. You were the one who was doing the work. You were, and you really you had a job that you were paying yourself a job, but you didn't own the business, and you've transformed from that to being a business owner, right?
Yeah, correct.
So I know too, there was a time a couple of years ago, you made a big shift in your mindset on business ownership, that you guys did something in transferring some ownership from one to another. Joslyn, tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, that was a pivotal moment in the history of Dent Tires, and actually the history of our marriage, because Enrique made a profound decision to hand over the majority ownership to me. And we changed our split to 81-19%. So I became primary owner of Dent Tires. However, it didn't come easy. Enrique is a creative being, but he is also very, if I can use this word, authoritative.
Putting it nicely.
And that is no knock against him. I respect him for that, because he is full on in his masculinity, and I respect it. Okay.
Yeah.
But when he made that decision, Michael, you actually helped him with that, because he was not letting up.
Yeah.
He didn't want to let go of it, but you had to reassure him and let him know, listen, if you want to move this ship ahead, okay, and you want to propel forward, you've got to relinquish.
Yeah.
You got to let go, and you got to trust your wife.
Yeah.
You have to trust your wife, and you have to trust your business partner, that she has the best interest in the business and the best interest in you.
Yeah. Yeah. And as a result of that, what has happened?
What has happened? Oh my God.
Well, we
record sales.
We grew and we were able to create a 7-figure business.
Yes.
But let me go back just a little bit. One of the most pivotal points before that was Mrs. Dent. I went through a transition from being one of the most stable people that I know working to getting into the wholesale tire industry. But Mrs. Dent said something that I think God put this on her heart. She said, we're not going to chase money. We're going to chase purpose.
Yes.
And she said, let's start chasing purpose. And no one ever told me that before that. So that got us on the trajectory, because my mom was only taking care of my family, being a good husband, being a good provider. And she says, let's stop chasing money. Let's just chase purpose. And the money and the success will come. And I think God gave her that message to give to me, because from that moment, we started this path of entrepreneurship and changing our thinking. And we've been evolving ever since. But since then, we have grown a 7-figure business. That was, I can remember I made 7 figures from music over a long period of time. Now we can make those same 7 figures in a 12-month calendar year.
Calendar year.
And we've been exposed to things that we've never seen, private banking, nice family trips, business trips, multiple business offices,
wealth management.
We are able to plan things out yearly,
months in advance.
So we spend a lot of time now thinking about building generational wealth, and we can plan that for our son, our family, our grandkids. So there is a change in the way that we think, the way that we act, the way that we move, do things, you name it. That just is a complete change.
But I must say this, that shift and that change didn't happen, Michael, until we met you.
Yes.
Oh.
In sincerity and all honesty, because Enrique and I, we only knew as much as we knew. You know, you don't know what you don't know until someone comes along and says, hey, have you ever thought about, have you ever considered?
We were pigeonholed by our religion, by our dynamics, by our upbringing, even by our parents. I hate, sometimes we have a conversation with our parents to say, you know, why didn't you teach us more? And you know, I've always got the message, well, we didn't know. So how can we give you that information? So we sought out collectively, you know, and individually to find more knowledge. And that knowledge and education and that continuous learning and then ability to learn and want to learn more, it has propelled us into a new realm, a new, I guess, a new mindset.
It has. And what we've done, Michael, is that we've spread it the wealth. We have actually spread it across our entire lives. Everything that we do.
But it's all, and it goes back to you saying you are now purpose driven, right?
Yes.
Which is, I think, an awesome way to say it. And the idea of the show is, you know, that purpose is driven by a dream that you have. You guys, it's that personal dream. The business is there to supply the dream, to fund the dream, but it's not there to consume your life. And I think that's one of the things that you guys have, you know, you're fully into your business, right?
Yeah.
That's what, but you understand the business is simply there because God has given you a dream to do a legacy and to build something for future generations.
The word legacy means a lot. For me, I told Mrs. Dent a long time ago, I said, legacy. We are in the Dent family, in my family, we're the first to achieve this level of success. And we've taught our son, and through our parenting, through our mindset, through our coaching, through guidance, through our spirituality, we've guided our son. So he made us proud. He says, my kids would never know poverty. You guys have taught me so much that mediocrity, I would not accept mediocrity. He says, we're going to take this family to the next level. And that was one of our goals, because we understood that how poverty can affect a household, can affect a kid, can affect our generation. And we're the first in our collective families to achieve this level of success and this level of freedom and understanding. So,
that's awesome. A couple of things there. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joslyn.
I would say the buck stops here. Enrique and I, we're carrying that heavy load so that our legacy can enjoy and focus their, you know, intentions on living life.
Correct.
Yeah. And I was thinking, you know, when tell us about how you started Dent Tires, because this is just a tremendous, you know, talk about a dream story, you know. How did you start it?
Well, let's go back a little bit. First of all, naming the company Dent Tires was not our intentions.
No.
We came up with a lot of different names, and we had all these names. And then the very last thing we came up with, we said, well, I guess we can call it Dent Tires. I don't know if that'll ever work.
And you know what I said, Michael? I said, absolutely not. I said, we're going to get fired. You're going to lose your job. I'm going to lose my job.
And we were so afraid of our employers, what they would think. And so we was like, well, we'll try it. And lo and behold, it turned out to be the best thing that we could have ever done. Only God knew. We had no foresight and no intuition. But to answer your question, we started with $300 worth of cryptocurrency. We took that $300.
Say that again. Say that again. Slow down there. How did you start it? With what kind of currency?
We started with $300 of cryptocurrency on a meme coin called Bidayo. An unheard of coin that we heard on a obscure crypto channel years and years ago.
Yeah.
Bought the coin, put it in, you know, a Coinbase wallet, and let it sit there.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, I guess we bought it in the bear market because it went down. So our conviction was like, oh my God, we went from $300 down to $100.
Yeah. Yeah.
we
That's
thought
a dud.
we thought it was a scam, but so we left it alone. We kept working, but during the bull market, it turned into $10,000. So that $10,000, we were able to buy the first 8 tires for Dent Tires, put down a Mrs. Dent Honda CRV, and we built the deck on the back of our house.
Yeah.
So and from there, we just kept building upon that. We started to structure the company, because that was a time, Michael. A lot of people don't know this. We only had $20 in the bank.
Yeah, and Michael, I'm gonna tell you something. I kept asking Enrique. I said, "Why are you taking money from our account, putting it into this business checking account?" And he says, "I can't close this account, babe. It has to stay open." And I said, "Okay, Enrique, go ahead, do what you need to do."
So for people to hear that this account now that has multiple six figures in it all the time, go running through it, for them to hear that at one time there was $20 a month in this account is a testament because it looked, I guess, the future. It was bleak. But through conviction, hard work, studying, dedication, being open-minded, having grit,
and not taking no for an answer.
We was able to persevere, push through long nights, coming up with trying to find the brand, trying to create a foundation for what Dent Tire is going to eventually become, what it is today. But it's still evolving. But we just kept doing that. And then as we matriculated through the process, we started learning about, risk, debt, lending, borrowing, leverage. So, we started learning these different things, but it started with a $300 investment. And now to see, when we tell people that, we've been featured on many crypto channels, and because a lot of people say, well, you guys were lucky.
No.
I don't think it was luck.
It wasn't luck, Michael. You know what it was? It was hard work. It was the desire to succeed. Failure wasn't an option until it was an option. And we pushed through those times that we did fail, because that's when you learn about who you really are, is those moments when you are by yourself and you have to fix what you broke.
Michael, we just had a talk about the law of attraction.
Yes.
And something attracted us to this path. This path that we're taking, it's like it pulled us, because
like
that was
gravitational pull.
I told Mrs. Dent a long time ago, I hate the tire business. I hate the car business. I've been doing it for so long. And this turned out to be our career. And I said, I even asked God, Lord, why can't I be a rock and roll star?
But you know what? I need to chime in. I need to chime in. Hold fast, Enrique.
Sure.
Michael, let me tell you something. Enrique and I, we both despised our careers. The thing that fueled our household, the thing that fueled our marriage, we despised it like the plague. Okay. But that same thing is what got us to where we are. I met him at Goodyear. That's where I met him at. He was working on my car. He was fraternizing with the employees, right? But all of my corporate experience is what has been the bedrock of Dent Tires. Working, I call it working from the ain't to the can't. When it ain't no sun, and you can't see the sun.
That corporate time that you spent in finance and all, in that corporate environment was just the internship for what you're doing now. It taught you what you need to know to do now.
I'm going to say this too, Michael. There was a time that I felt inadequate, because I told Mrs. Dent at one time, I've always wanted success, but I was afraid of success, because I said I can only go so far, because I had never personally seen it past a certain point. So you fear the unknown. And I told her, I said, I'm good for everything under $1 million. I'm okay. I can do that. But
Yeah.
when we start talking bigger dreams, bigger numbers, bigger decisions, when I'm like, I feel very uncomfortable with that. So at some point, I was like, am I subconsciously sabotaging myself? Because I see once we started getting to a certain point, because Mrs. Dent started withholding information. I didn't even know we had hit 7 figures. I was just working and working and working, and we hit those numbers. And I never thought about it. But the more when I used to think about it, or when it was in front of me, it pigeonholed me. It stopped. It stagnated me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that I had a phobia of failing at a certain point, because I said I had no one close to me that would hold me and guide me and show me so I won't fall, because I thought that once you get so far out there and you don't have, like I said, we didn't have coaching. There were no people like you around early on. So I was like, well, I don't want to be a disappointment to my family and to people that are saying, you've done well, but they don't know that deep down I have reservations. I'm like, well, I'm getting in uncharted territory. Yeah. So when you don't have other entrepreneurs around you, so when your circle is not, there are no.
Yeah, when it's not filled with a plethora of knowledgeable people who can open your mind's eye to the possibilities. It's almost like you're like, well, what am I doing this for?
All I understood was work 40 years, save in your 401k, because that's what I was taught.
Right.
Saving your 401k. And no one really understood real true banking. No one understood investing.
No one understood real life insurance. See, people was thinking life insurance is for death. It's not. It's for life.
Yeah.
It's for you to live with that insurance and provide.
So all of these things we learned as we went, but
went along the way.
A lot of mental blocks.
Yeah. So how did you go from that mindset that, work a 40-hour job, put away your 401k, retire when you're 62 or 65 or whatever, and just be happy with life, to where you are now, that you have dreams that are so much bigger than that?
Business coaching. This was one of them.
I
did not intend. Yeah, this was not for a shameless plug.
Right. Before we got to business coaching, it was a rug pull. We had to get our comfortability snatched away from us. We had to get uncomfortable. When Enrique got fired from his job as the regional sales director, and I got fired from my job, we had to, it was almost kind of like we hit the ground and we just took off, because Enrique got fired in September and I got fired in December.
Yeah. And that it forced us. God has a strange way of putting you in situations that seem very uncomfortable. Because when I got fired, I was, like I stated, there was one point I thought I was very stable. And I had my mind set on 40 years. Yeah. And when that got taken away, and then the explanation was, as hard as I was working 80-hour weeks. Yeah. And they said, you wasn't working hard enough. And I said, I don't understand. I'm almost putting 7 figures. I'm putting multiple 7 figures in the bank every month in sales. Yeah. And you're telling me I'm not working hard enough. I'm outworking everyone. So it was a slap in the face.
Yeah. And it was a mental strain too, Michael, as his wife. I'm looking at the pain and the anguish that is running through him. And he's like, I just keep getting fired from job after job after job. And I said, you know what? If I support you, I do all of your record keeping, all of your bookkeeping, and you teach me what I need to know to help you. Yeah. Will this work? And he says, I don't know. I said, well, we just have to try it. We just have to see. Yeah. And from that mindset, from me saying, let me help you. What do I need to do?
Yeah. Let's work together. Let's achieve it.
She was the first person in my life that ever came to me, because people have always come to me to take. Yeah. And so I had my guard up all the time, because people always take. But she said, as my wife and as my partner, let me help you. Yeah. And I had to let my guard down and receive that message. I had to receive it. Because I didn't before that. I've been tainted. I've been burned so many times that I just could not. I couldn't allow myself again to trust anyone when it comes to because as a man, you keep saying, well, I'm the head of the household. I'm supposed to take care of my family, and if it fails, it's all on me. I've been taught this.
Yeah.
So my whole life, I've been taught this, and so my wife was like, we need to work together.
Yeah. But it was tough on me too, Michael, because I'm a corporate girl. Everything is it's just, perfect. Yeah. And I had to do a lot of unlearning to relearn what I thought I understood about business and about money management. It was skewed. It was completely skewed. But I wouldn't discount a lot of it, just pieces of it.
Yeah. Sure.
Because of my misunderstanding. So when I went through an unlearning process and he taught me what I needed to know, because he's always been in managerial roles. I've never been in a managerial role. Never. I've managed projects, but not people. Yeah.
So one of the things you guys have mentioned, and we've talked about in the past as well, is you guys have this unique relationship. A lot of people say don't go into business with your spouse or or family, and I certainly have worked with folks in the past where they had family, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, this isn't working. If you want to keep the family relationship, you need to stop the business relationship, right? For a lot of people, it just doesn't work. What is the secret that you guys have that it seems to work?
Respect.
Yeah, respect is at the core.
Yeah.
Because love is not. Love is.
It doesn't conquer all, Michael.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Not for us.
Yeah.
Because some days, love it gets put outside for several days, and it's like, listen, the sleeves are getting rolled up, the hat is getting turned to the back, and we gotta hunker down and we gotta get it done.
Yeah.
Mike.
But I see you guys, and you guys are like always having fun.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but it's like you guys enjoy life.
Now, here's the thing: we've been together 17 years, Michael.
Yeah.
But we started out as friends. Like, he was my buddy. I don't know. We just had kindred spirits, and I feel like, I don't know. Like, I feel like he's more so my boyfriend than my husband.
Michael, let me tell you this. She told me a long time ago.
That's a good thing.
She said, Michael, it's not what we have in common. It's what did you say?
It is our differences.
It's our differences.
Because we had so much in common when we first met, and he's like, oh, you like football? Oh, I like football a little bit. Oh, you like the Falcons? Oh, I like, so all these things that we were finding common ground with. I said, uh-oh. I threw the red flag out. I said, uh-oh. I said, what is it that we don't like? Yeah. Because our differences is what's going to make or break our relationship. So let's drill down and let's focus on our differences.
Another piece of that also is, so in business, we understand each other's role. I don't get in her space and she doesn't get in my space.
Yeah.
And we can we're able to separate business from home. At home, she is Mrs. Dent. And at home, I am Mr. Dent. We are husband and wife. We work together every day, but I don't assume because we talk every day in business that I don't have to talk to my wife at home. I don't, I still court my wife. I still laugh with my wife. I still take her out on dates. We still enjoy some of the finer things in life as a couple. We don't say, well, we've been around each other all day. I don't need to see you when I get home. I'm not trying to get away. Our home life is very loving. As you see, very bright, very colorful. It's like that in our business life. Mm-hmm. We brought our home life in our business. It's almost the same.
It's like submerged.
Yeah, it's so we have that love, fun, boyfriend, girlfriend, experiencing things together. People, here's the thing though, even in the face of adversity, because I've had people come to me and say, I can't believe what kind of man are you to make your wife lift tires and run a tire company. And I said, I don't make her do anything. And why are y'all approaching me like this? You go in there and tell her don't lift the tire and see what she tell you.
And watch and see me take that tire and sling it at you. You better move.
Yeah, really. That's right.
Yeah, see, so I mean, so in the face of criticism, you know, I mean, other people think that I'm just a bad guy. You making your wife work for a living.
No.
She's grown, and that's what she wants. It's her business too.
Yeah. So the other thing I was thinking is, as you were talking, when we started working together, you know, years ago, you were renting a container in the back of somebody else's shop.
You're gonna bring up the bad stuff, right, Michael? You're gonna bring up the hardest part of.
We were talking about how you started the business and where you've gone from now, but even the operations. Tell us a little bit about how the operations have gone from, you know, this rented container in a mosquito-infested field, right, to where are you now?
Well, we actually need to go back further when you used to put the tires in my Honda Pilot.
Yeah. I was putting tires in our personal vehicle, so it was our space was much smaller.
Because we actually was sharing a container with someone else.
Michael, I'm going to go even further back there. At one time, I was putting tires on top of our sales car.
His Honda Accord.
I was stacking tires on top of the roof of the car. So it started with one tire, you know, moving one tire before there was a truck, anything. Then we got to the containers.
Right.
Well, and hold that for 1 second, because I want to tell folks who may be listening to this, who are starting small.
Yes.
There is a dream that you have, and pursue that dream and the purpose of your business and purpose of why you're doing it. And you will, you know, work hard. It doesn't come, you know, things don't come for free. Things come after hard work, and you attract it to you. So I just want to encourage anyone who may have heard that. It's like starting with one tire on top of a car, you know, to now I'll turn it back over to you.
Michael, we've met many entrepreneurs that say, and when I get this amount of money, I'm going to start my business. Some of those same people 6 years later, after 6-7 years later, we're going into our 7th year, they still tell us, when I raise this same amount of money, I'm going to start.
Yeah.
We said, put together a preliminary plan, but just start.
Yeah.
Because you keep saying you're going to start, but you never do it.
And we see so many talents, Michael. I'm telling you, we have come across the most talented people, and they keep thinking that, oh, well, I need all this capital. No, you don't. You have talent. You have a gift.
Yeah.
You have a skill set that nobody else has, but you got it.
Put a fundamental structure in place and get started.
Yep.
But if you keep procrastinating, you would never manifest your dreams. So we started, like I stated in the beginning, with just delivering these tires on the top of the car. This is way before the container. You know, before we was renting a container. And then after that, that's when we, before that, then we was using the container at the shop, which wasn't even ours, which was a shared space.
Yeah.
It was not much space at all. We could probably only store maybe 20, 30 tires. Then we realized we can rent our own container. Yeah. And then from there, then we started buying, we was able to finance our first company vehicle at an astronomical interest rate, because the company was not established. And we decided, we understand we're going to have to pay a little bit more in interest, but we needed the first company truck. No, before that, we bought the company van.
It was the Chevy 3500.
Leaking oil everywhere, running hot most days.
No AC, no heat.
Barely had some door handles on it.
We had to have a 2x4.
Kind of wood to load the tile up in the back. But did we keep going?
Yes.
And it was the hardest thing to load, Michael. It was the most embarrassing thing to be in. It was rusted, but it got us from to and fro. Yep. And we kept doing it. That little bitty $1,800 van helped us make our first $30,000 in the business. That little van, that $1,800 van, started delivering tires. We made 30,000 that first year, but most people say that's not a lot of money. But to us,
It was a lot.
to create something from our gut, from nothing, and to turn it to fruition, and to be able to claim $30,000 on your taxes, that was an amazing feat for our first year.
Yeah.
We thought we was rich. We thought we were rich because we said, "Oh my God, we don't have a regular job and we're selling tires and we made $30,000."
And this is what we do every day.
This is what we do every day.
Oh, those were the days.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Boy.
And now you have 3 locations.
Three locations.
Three. So we have our Conyers location, which we do all of our tire installations, and a few deliveries happen there. Wholesale, where that's where our larger deliveries come. And we have Atlanta, which is our headquarters. That's our main office. Nice and comfortable environment for the missus.
Yeah.
And that's where we keep the forklifts and all that stuff there. We have tires there too. So, tires, forklift, golf cart. So of course we've expanded the business line. So to start, as you stated from the beginning, to start from a humble beginning, to change our mindset, to now we're in a period of growth. We have a growth mindset right now. We're in a season of growth.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Hey, I need to pause here too to thank the sponsor of our show, Fist Bump, Brandon Lee and his team, and to tie that into a little bit of what you guys do as well, and that is they utilize LinkedIn to connect people, as opposed to this idea that we used to have to go door to door and knock and do cold call and all that sort of thing. And Fist Bump is revolutionizing how LinkedIn can connect you with the people who want to do business with you already. And I encourage, I thank them for the, sponsoring the show and making it happen, so that other people can hear about, business from folks like you, but also how they're just helping so many other businesses, and encourage folks to set up a discovery call with them and see if LinkedIn will work and things like that. And having said that, tell me a little bit about what you guys, because you guys have a little bit of an influence out there. Some people have said some people know you on LinkedIn and other places. So how have you guys utilized some of the socials?
Well, here's the thing, Mr. Michael. We've had because we go viral on TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, a lot. And we've appeared on a lot of it has given us other opportunities to appear on other podcasts and other channels. We've also been offered, people want to know, do we want to franchise Dent Tires now? So we find ourselves talking and communicating with a lot of other up-and-coming entrepreneurs. We get invited to speak. Mrs. Dent always get asked business questions, and people want the mentorship from her. They want to QuickBooks, taxes. So she constantly, I'll let her tell you a little bit more about that. Mrs. Dent, you want to explain about how many people call you for
It feels kind of weird though, because I'm the one that's behind the scenes, but people, they slide in my DM or they instant message me asking me, how was I able to forge through and push through the challenges that comes with being a Black woman in business, and especially in the industry that's dominated by men. And I said, you just have to find your lane, and you have to get in, and you have to work. Like, this is not an industry that you're going to come into and you're just going to sit at a desk and pick away at a keyboard. You have to get into the field, because in this industry, men, they respect work and hard work.
Miss Michael, I want to tell you this. Mrs. Dent recently just got us DBE certified.
Yes.
So we are celebrating that. That is a milestone we've been working on this last year. DBE certification. So now we can do business. We're going to appear in the GDOT database.
Yes, so we'll be appearing in GDOT, which is Georgia Department of Transportation. We will also be appearing in USDOT. So our DBE certification is transferable across this nation.
State lines.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And opening up so many more doors for you.
Oh
Yes.
yes. Oh
Yes.
yes.
Guys, I always love talking with you. We're having to wrap things up. It's amazing that we're almost at the end of an hour here. But as we're wrapping things up, two things. One is, if you were to give advice to somebody who's an entrepreneur these days, what would you do? And then two, what is you guys' next big dream and where are you going?
Ooh.
You want to give
Which
me
one?
advice?
Well, Michael, can we do it like this? Can we give both a female perspective and a male perspective?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So from a woman's perspective, I would say change the way that you think. Mindset is first and foremost. You have to understand your business. Understand that there are no limitations. You put the limitations on yourself. There are no limitations when it comes to doing business.
Yeah. All right.
Let me start.
And Enrique.
I'm going to say mindset also change the way you think, but relationships and networking.
Mm-hmm.
Your network and the people you do business with and associate with is going to determine how far your business is going to go and how far you go. So that's one of the key things I tell people, because I have a lot of people I know say, I don't deal with anybody else. I keep to myself. It's all about me and my business and my ecosystem. And I say, you have to network. You have to create your network. You cannot just stay alone and expect to grow in business. You have to expand your mind, expand your horizon. You have to. But I meet so many entrepreneurs saying, I don't know why I'm not growing. Well, you got the mindset of you want to stay to yourself and you don't bother anybody. You don't talk to anybody. You don't do business with anybody. How can you grow?
And I want to say this one last thing. Don't be afraid of credit. Okay. Credit is what makes this world go round and round. Yeah. Learn to leverage your personal credit as well as how to leverage your personal credit to build your business credit.
Good. And your next big dream.
The next
big dream. Where are the Dents going?
The Dents are building out the e-commerce.
Yes.
So we're building that e-commerce site out so we can deal more with the public. As you know, we're wholesalers, but we have a lot of the public that want to do business with us. We're going out to government, multi-million-dollar government contracts. We're going to open up a few more locations, possibly nationwide, not just in Atlanta. And we're really thinking about franchising. We're considering this. We're considering franchise and giving other people opportunity to be a part of the Dent Tire family. Mrs. Dent, any other thing you want to add to that?
I think you got it covered.
That's kind of what we want to do.
So how do people get in touch with you? How would people get in touch with you?
Okay, they can get in touch with us through our email, which is denttires@gmail.com, or you can reach out to Enrique and I through all of our social media platforms, and that's at Dent Tires LLC, or our LinkedIn profiles, Joslyn Dent or Enrique Dent.
One last thing, you can also go to our website, www.denttiresllc.com. There's a contact page there also. So we have multiple ways to contact us.
Yes.
All right. I love all the time that we get to spend. I love our friendship. Yes, I'm your business coach, but we all agree that our families get together. We hang out together. We enjoy each other, and it's just a beautiful relationship. And so, I thank you for coming on and telling your story, a little bit of your story. We didn't get to so much. There's so much more that I would love.
We can have part 2, part 3.
We'll have to do. Yeah.
We can do different parts.
We're always doing something.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have you back on. I thank you for coming on, and please stay safe. Don't go driving around on those icy roads down there. Don't deliver any tires today unless they got chains on them.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Yeah. And for those of you who are watching this, I thank you for watching, for taking your time. I know time is valuable, but the idea of this is to inspire you to achieve your dreams, to do something bigger than what you're doing right now. Folks are doing it every day, and you can do it as well. And so happy to have you here in our virtual tree houses today. But we'll be back out when the weather changes in the tree house and outside in the future. But thank you very much. Have a great week. Be blessed.